Let's now see how we can write inheritance for our structures. For this go.mod file, we will just specify our module and our Go version. Inside of any project where we don't need to use third-party libraries, we can skip writing of our require sector. So in this case, we will just specify our zero state mod and our Go version. Inside of our project, we will create new directory model. Inside of this directory, we will create new directories person and worker. Inside of our person directory, we will create a new package person with a new structure person, and also we will create constructor for that structure. We already done this implementation inside of our previous examples. We will create person and name file in our person package. We will write two new functions connected to our person structure, and these functions will set and get value of our name attribute. Now let's create worker file inside of our worker directory. Inside of this file, we want to create new worker structure, but inside of this structure, we want to embed our person structure from our person package. First thing which we need to know is that these two structures belong to two different packages. That's why here in our worker file, we must import our person package so we can use data from that specific package. Inside of our import section, we imported our zero state mod. Then to that zero state, we add additional path on which we can find our person package. Also, for this package, we assigned new alias. That alias, in this case, will be character P. Let's create our new structure worker. Inside of our worker structure, we have three attributes. We understand second and third, but how we created our first attribute. We want to embed our person structure inside of our worker structure, but these two structures doesn't belong to the same package. In this case, first, we must access our specific package, in this case person package, with alias p, and then we want to specify person structure from that package as embedded structure inside of our worker structure. That's the way how we can create inheritance inside of our structures with mods. Let's now create main file in which we will create implementation of our application, and we will create person and worker objects. Inside of our import section, we must import our person and worker packages. With our mods, we will just specify path on which we can find these two packages. Let's now create new person object inside of our main function. Let's now create new variable with data type worker with pointer. First, we access our worker package, and then we created new object of worker structure. Next, we specified values for specific attributes, and here we must know one important thing. Our attribute person inside of our worker structure is embedded structure with data type person without pointer, which means we cannot pass p1 variable. Instead of that, we must pass value which is connected to our p1 variable. Instead of passing p1, we will pass star p1 to our person attribute inside of our worker structure. If we print our p1 variable and values for our attributes inside of our w1 variable, output will look like this. In this case, we can change values of our attributes inside of our P1 and W1 variables with functions, but also we can do that directly. Both ways can be useful for us in this example because names of our attributes inside of our structures are uppercase, which means they are public for any of our packages. That's why we can change their values directly. Here we can see example for our P1 variable. You can also do that for our W1 variable. Let's now see how we can write our implementation with interface. For this example, we will take all data from our second project. Now we will just change name of this project. When we open our sixth project, we can see exactly the same data from our second project. We want to create a new file inside of our person package. Inside of our person info service, we will create interface which will belong to our person package. We will create new interface, info service, and inside of that interface, we will have two new methods. These methods will have exactly the same name and declaration as our functions, which are connected to our person structure, because we want to be able to transform our info service into our person structure. Beside this, we can also create new constructor for our specific interface. When we call our new info service function, that function will create for us new variable with data type info service. Remember that this interface is now connected and can be transformed to our person structure, but this interface also belongs to the same package person as our person structure. Inside of our main file, we will create a new implementation with our interface. When we open our main file, we can see implementation which we copied from our second project. Now we can erase this implementation so we can start new one. Inside of our main function, we will create new variables p1 and p2 as new objects with data type person with pointer. This we will do with our function new, which is constructor for our person structure. We want to create new variable info, which will have data type info service. We can do that in two different ways. First way would be that we will declare new variable info by accessing our person package and creating data type info service. Second way would be that we will create new variable info by initializing one specific function. We will access our person package and we will call our new info service function. Our info variable has data type info service, which is our interface. We can assign specific object p1 or p2 to our interface. After this, our interface info can call specific method so we can get values from those functions. We created a new variable name by accessing our interface info and calling getName method. So in this case, our info variable is transforming to our p1 variable, which is data type person with pointer, and then that object will call own implementation for getName function. We can assign different object to our info interface to see the difference. We assigned p2 object, which has data type person with pointer, to our info interface. Then we will create a new variable name2 by accessing our info interface and calling our getName method. When we print value of our variable name2, we can see that now value is Fred. So now we understood how we can implement our interface inside of our main package and how we can assign new object to that specific interface, so we can call methods from our interface.